Radhe Radhe. Today is Saturday, 2nd March 2024. Here we are for this recap video of today's Bhagavad Gita study session, where we covered chapter 8, verse 16. As always, after a recap quiz for the prior time's content, which covered chapter 8, verses 14 and 15. Along with me, here is Mummy.
Radhe Radhe.
As you can see now on the screen, we covered chapter 8, verse 16, as I mentioned, after a series of recap quiz questions. Please take a look and get familiar with those through the community portal page, always in the description of the video. And that's where you'll get these slides and all other information. So with that, we get into today's content, chapter 8, verse 16.
Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punar avartinorjuna mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate.
So chapter 8, verse 16, death of rebirth. Catchphrase that might sound ironic at first, but indeed it's true because Sri Krishna tells us in chapter 8, verse 16, that in all the worlds, even up to the one that has Brahma's abode or is Brahma's abode, there will be rebirth. But only higher than that, in Sri Krishna's abode, in the divine abode of God, we are no longer subject to rebirth. So that is where there is the death of rebirth. Rebirth doesn't take place. To get that, of course, Swamiji talks about in the commentary, a quick description of all the different planes of existence. We talked about them in class. 14 of them, 7 that are considered the hellish abodes, and 7 that are the heavenly abodes. So we had their different names you see on the screen as well. Tal, Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Rasatal, and Patal, 7 hellish Narak abodes. And then the 7 planes of existence, starting with our earthly abode, in fact, the celestial or swarg or heavenly abodes. Bhu, Bhuva, Swa, Maha, Jana, Tapa, and Satya. Satya, also known as Brahmalok, the abode of Brahma. Again, in all of these, we are subject to rebirth. If we reach the highest perfection, which is attaining Sri Krishna through God realization, then we are no longer subject to rebirth. In the commentary that you can revisit, there is a story about Vishmakarma, Indra, the ants, Lomesh Rishi, lots of details there that again help us understand that even someone like Indra, for instance, such a long lifespan, but again, could be an ant in a future lifetime, or even much longer than that, Lomesh Rishi, Chirayu, the long life boon, and still he understood that this is all temporary, it's impermanent, just have a simple straw mat, walk around. That is the essence, which then takes us to what our next steps and purpose ought to be. Mommy will talk to us about that when she also explains some of the important Sanskrit words.
Yeah, so first of all, we'll look at the Sanskrit word. Punah avartinaha. Punah avartinaha means subject to rebirth. Punah means again. Avartina means birth. So again and again, we are caught into this cycle of birth and death. Now, how do we get out of this cycle? Yes, there are many heavens. We do good deeds and we can reach those heavens. But Krishna says, even there, when you exhaust the account of your good deeds, you have to come down back to this material world. You come down to this earth. And there, in those heavens, you cannot add to your account. You are only exhausting. You are just enjoying and exhausting your account. So then, what is the remedy? Remedy is that we purify our heart, we purify our mind, we get into exclusive devotion to God, constant absorption in God, cleanse our heart, attach our mind to God, and reach God realization. That is Krishna's Golok. Krishna's Golok, Krishna says, once you reach there, then you don't come back to this earth. Then you stay there and you are God realized, and you attain the divine abode of God. There you attain divine bodies, and in which you eternally participate in the divine pastimes of God. Then you do not have to take birth again in this material world. Only some of these saints are sent back by God only. Okay, even after liberation from Maya, God sends those saints. And why do they come? They come to, they are engaging themselves in the divine welfare of humankind. They are spreading the knowledge of God. So for us also to get in touch with such saints is not just a matter of coincidence. It happens only with the grace of God. So we should make full use of that opportunity. And with that, we learn how to slowly get away from our ignorance, learn the knowledge from scriptures, from such saints, purify our hearts, and move into constant and exclusive devotion to Sri Krishna. Because this world is Dukkhalayam, full of miseries, and this world is Ashashvatam. This is impermanent. This world is impermanent and it is full of misery. We'll be caught in the material bondage, in the cycle of birth and death. We want to get out of this with Krishna's exclusive and constant devotion. We should be able to achieve God realization under the tutelage of a great saint, which is sent by Sri Krishna only. With that, over to you, Gagan.
Yeah, thank you, Mummy. And I'll just remind everyone also, we covered in class Swamiji's full video, which will be also through the slides that we send out. So what are the seven heavens and the seven hells? That's the first part of it. But as you all appreciated in class, much later, we also learned the essence, as Mummy said, bhakti, devotion. So a very important video that gets you important details, but also what our call to action, as they say, ought to be. And finally, of course, connecting it to the quiz flyer. You all hopefully had a chance to see that. Clouded minds, for our clouded minds, which numbered heaven should we seek? Is it 7? We now know the answer, right? Of course, up to the abode of Brahma, there is rebirth. Beyond that, so beyond that 7th, there is 7th heavenly one. There is actually God's abode, where we are no longer subject to rebirth. So that gets us towards the end of this recap video. As always, we look forward to your continued presence and participation. We shall meet next week, Saturday, 9th March 2024. As always, 8 a.m. Central Time and 7:30 p.m. India time. In fact, Mummy, I forgot. I should actually mention as well that the grace of God in class that came up, the quick poem. So, in fact, connection from Swamiji's video as we were watching it in class. He mentions, if you do this, you go to this loka. If you go do that, you go to that loka. So luckily, just again, grace of God came to me. If you do this, you go to this loka. If you do that, you go to that loka. Dear God, I do not wish to have any dhoka. Please just give me the bhakti through your shloka. I'll try to write that down, but again, just sharing that for everyone watching. Again, thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.